This is the story of a custody battle that didn't just end tragically. It unraveled into one of the most twisted cases you'll ever hear. A young mother, a relentless ex, and a web of manipulation so dark it defies belief. Stay with me as we uncover the shocking truth behind Alyssa Burkett's murder. Welcome back to Chilling Fireside Stories, where I tell true crime stories with the utmost care and respect for the victims and bearable for my community. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It truly helps me continue bringing these important stories to you. These cases deserve to be remembered. Now, settle in and let's begin. It was a crisp Friday morning in Carrollton, Texas, on October 2nd, 2020. The Green Tree apartment complex buzzed with the usual hum of activity, residents heading out, employees clocking in. Among those starting their day was Alyssa Burkett, a 24-year-old assistant manager at the complex. She parked her car in her usual spot, ready to tackle another workday. Alyssa was sitting in her car when a man dressed head to toe in black stepped out of the vehicle parked next to hers. Without hesitation, he approached her driver's side window, raised a gun, and fired. The shot tore through the glass, striking Alyssa with devastating force. The attacker fled immediately, leaving Alyssa gravely wounded but still alive. Despite the catastrophic injury, Alyssa's will to survive propelled her forward. She stumbled out of her car, her face severely wounded, and began making her way toward the building's entrance. Bloodied and desperate, she banged on the windows, leaving crimson streaks as she tried to alert her co-workers inside. She was mere seconds away from help, but her attacker wasn't finished. He returned, this time armed with a knife, and unleashed a frenzied assault, stabbing Alyssa 44 times repeatedly until she could no longer move. Satisfied with his brutal work, he climbed back into a black SUV and sped away. Alyssa's co-workers rushed to her side, finding her barely clinging to life. Her breathing was shallow, her condition critical, but she was still fighting. They tried to administer first aid, while frantically calling 911.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
Someone came up and just shot my assistant manager.
Where is the shooter?
I don't have enough information. He's gone. He left in his car. He literally left a second ago.
By the time paramedics arrived, Alyssa was no longer alive. The senseless violence left the community reeling, searching for answers and justice for a young woman whose life had been stolen in such a brutal and public way. As investigators combed through the crime scene, they uncovered a knife sheath left behind by the attacker. However, the weapons themselves, a gun and the knife used in the brutal assault, were nowhere to be found. With limited physical evidence, the police turned to witness statements.
Were you here when everything happened?
Yes, I was sitting at my desk. What I can say is a black bag.
Did you see him holding the knife?
Yeah, in the hand.
The chaotic nature of the attack meant no one had seen the full sequence of events, but fragments began to emerge. A medium-built black man stepping out of a black SUV, firing a gun, stabbing Alyssa and fleeing. What witnesses agreed on was how quickly it all unfolded, too fast for anyone to intervene. From the outset, investigators suspected this was no random act of violence. The sheer brutality of the stabbing pointed to something deeply personal. This theory gained weight when Alyssa's mother, Teresa, received a devastating call urging her to rush to the Green Tree apartment complex. She was told Alyssa had been badly hurt, but no one mentioned the unthinkable, that her daughter was already gone. When Teresa arrived, she was confronted with the grim reality of a murder investigation. Overwhelmed with grief, she still managed to provide crucial information to the police. She thought exactly who had done this to Alyssa. Her ex-boyfriend, Andrew Beard.
She even said, I think he's the kind of person that's going to try to kill me. And he did. And he did. Oh my God. I knew that it was him when the drugs didn't work in the car for him to get the baby.
When Alyssa Burkett first connected with Andrew Beard on a dating app, it was the kind of casual relationship you'd expect from two people in very different stages of life. Alyssa was just 22 years old, a college student focused on her education and enjoying the freedom of her early 20s. Andrew, on the other hand, was in his early 30s, a man who seemed to have it all, a stable job at a tool company, a beautiful home, and even his own private plane. To both Alyssa and Andrew, their relationship was simple and lighthearted, casual, carefree, and without expectations. But life had other plans. When Alyssa discovered she was pregnant, their lighthearted relationship took an unexpected and drastic turn. At first, Alyssa was overwhelmed. This was not the direction she had envisioned for her life. But when she learned she was expecting a baby girl, her perspective shifted entirely. A sense of determination and purpose blossomed in her. Instead of viewing her pregnancy as a setback, she chose to embrace it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. On July 23, 2019, Alyssa welcomed her daughter Willow-Ann into the world. By that time, she and Andrew had already decided to go their separate ways romantically, but they agreed to co-parent. Alyssa took primary custody, with Andrew spending a few days a week with Willow. Determined to create the best life possible for her daughter, Alyssa juggled her studies, her job at the Green Tree apartment complex, and her responsibilities as a new mom. She even started dating Ben Irwin, a supportive and loving partner who brought stability and encouragement to her busy and demanding life. In April 2020, things began to shift. Andrew started dating Holly Elkins, and their relationship moved at lightning speed. After meeting in late April, the two were engaged just a month later. Holly and Andrew seemed happy, and more importantly, Holly seemed eager to build a positive relationship with Alyssa. With Holly stepping into a step-parent role for Willow, her involvement in both Willow's life and Alyssa's world was unavoidable. Early on, Holly appeared committed to fostering a healthy co-parenting dynamic. In one text, she reached out to Alyssa and said, "I look forward to having a super healthy relationship with you and Ben." Alyssa responded warmly, hoping that Holly's influence would lead to a stronger bond between them all. The messages suggested promise, a shared commitment to making things work for Willow's sake. While Holly maintained the appearance of collaboration, Andrew started showing signs of discontent. He began to feel that his stable job and home life made him a better fit as Willow's primary caregiver, a belief that would soon spark conflict and unravel the fragile harmony Alyssa had worked so hard to create. The custody battles resumed, and with them came constant tension. Alyssa and Andrew clashed repeatedly over every detail of their arrangement, unable to see eye to eye. Their arguments grew heated, and the strain of their conflict began to ripple outward, affecting the very person they were trying to protect, Willow. Eventually, Alyssa and Andrew reached another agreement, sharing custody 50-50. For the first time, there was a sense of resolution. However, it didn't take long for Andrew to reignite the tension. He was back to pursuing full custody, but this time his approach was far meaner and more manipulative. He turned his frustration toward Alyssa, verbally harassing her at every opportunity. With sharp, cutting comments, he mocked her decisions, belittled her parenting, and tried to erode her confidence. His cruelty wasn't just emotionally draining, it was deeply unsettling. Though Andrew hadn't physically harmed her, Alyssa couldn't shake the feeling that his aggression would escalate. When Alyssa Burkett was murdered in broad daylight outside her workplace, her mother, Teresa, had no doubts about who was behind it. The day before Alyssa's death, Teresa confronted Andrew Beard during a custody exchange involving Willow. His erratic and angry behavior left her deeply concerned for Willow's safety, especially after Andrew declared he would do anything to get custody and that Alyssa couldn't stop him. Just 24 hours later, Alyssa was dead. Teresa's suspicions were echoed by Alyssa's friends, family, and a co-worker, all pointing to Andrew's increasingly hostile behavior. Facing mounting legal expenses, Alyssa created a GoFundMe, detailing Andrew's relentless attempts to take Willow away and her fears of what might come next. Despite the emotional and financial strain, she stayed resilient, balancing school, work, and motherhood. In a heartfelt video, Alyssa inspired others to stay strong, showcasing her determination even amid immense challenges.
Past year, I have been going through a custody battle, a very ugly one. I have a 1-year-old child. It's taken a toll on my mental and physical health. With that being said, I've become a lot stronger in the process. And I guess just my message is, no matter what you're going through, stick it out, you can do it, and stay strong.
As Andrew's behavior escalated, Alyssa grew suspicious of being stalked, noticing him frequently showing up at places she visited. One striking incident occurred when she went to a bar in downtown Dallas with friends, a city with countless nightlife options, and Andrew appeared there uninvited. For Alyssa, these coincidences no longer felt random. Alyssa lived in constant fear, frequently texting friends for reassurance and keeping her address private from Andrew. Yet during a custody hearing, Andrew revealed her address, leaving Alyssa convinced he had been stalking her. Just a month before her death, police searched Alyssa's car following a tip from Frank Morrow, accusing her of drug dealing. To her horror, they found planted substances and a gun with a scratched-off serial number. The police, noting her genuine surprise and confusion, believed her when she insisted that none of it was hers. Though Alyssa suspected Andrew, lack of evidence led police to drop the case. The tension worsened when Andrew and his fiancée, Holly Elkins, refused to return Willow on Alyssa's custody day. Determined, Alyssa and her mother Teresa went to retrieve her, with Teresa quickly grabbing Willow from Holly before driving off. Furious, Holly called the police, accusing Teresa of attacking her and pointing to a minor scratch on her chest as evidence.
She literally attacked me from behind side. I was facing the...
The police found her claim unconvincing and self-inflicted, took her statement without making any arrests.
No. Oh, you have some on your stomach? Okay.
After Alyssa's murder, investigators uncovered troubling details about Andrew Beard's obsession. A GPS tracker was found on Alyssa's car, and Ben Irwin, her boyfriend, revealed another tracker had been attached to his vehicle. The trackers lacked identifying features, but Andrew's motive to monitor them was clear. The case faced a major hurdle. All witnesses described Alyssa's attacker as a black man. With multiple accounts aligning and the attack occurring in broad daylight, it was difficult to reconcile this detail with Andrew, who was white. Despite the discrepancy, Andrew's history of threatening behavior kept him on the police radar. Investigators took a proactive approach. Within just 3 hours of Alyssa's murder, officers were stationed outside Andrew's home, quietly observing. It wasn't long before Andrew, his fiancée Holly, and little Willow climbed into his white Ford F-150 and hit the road. The vehicle, missing a front license plate, a violation of Texas law, caught law enforcement's attention. Officers used the pretext to conduct a traffic stop, aiming to gauge Andrew's demeanor. To their surprise, he remained eerily calm, polite, and composed, showing no hint of awareness about Alyssa's murder. The officers had little to work with from the traffic stop alone, but they received pivotal news. A search warrant for his home and vehicle had just been approved. With the warrant in hand, investigators began combing through Andrew's belongings, and what they found would turn the case on its head. Inside Andrew's home, investigators found an envelope with notes pointing directly to Alyssa, her car's details, license plate number, and the name Frank Morrow, the alias used in the false tip about her. Evidence suggested Frank Morrow was fabricated as part of Andrew's scheme to frame Alyssa. They also uncovered 3 phones, including a burner with incriminating searches like best way to remove gunpowder residue from hands. Another phone contained a script matching the anonymous tip. Piece by piece, the evidence revealed Andrew's calculated efforts to harass, frame, and destroy Alyssa. Among the items found during the search of his truck were a serrated kitchen knife, a flathead screwdriver, and pieces of a boot soaked in bleach, suggesting a calculated effort to destroy evidence. But the most shocking find was a makeup brush and several bottles of Maybelline Fit Me foundation in a dark shade of brown, far darker than Andrew or Holly's skin tone. Alongside these items were burned makeup wipes smeared with the same foundation. The implications were chilling. Witnesses had consistently described Alyssa's attacker as a black man, but now investigators were faced with evidence suggesting Andrew had used makeup to disguise his race during the murder. The lengths he went to in order to mislead witnesses and throw investigators off his trail were as bizarre as they were sinister. Andrew meticulously planned every detail, yet left behind evidence that unraveled his scheme. Investigators found a charger matching the GPS tracker on Alyssa's car and a gun silencer linked to the murder weapon, confirming his involvement. Witnesses reported the killer fleeing in a black SUV, while Andrew drove a white Ford F-150. Surveillance footage confirmed the black SUV at the scene. The investigation took a pivotal turn when police located the killer's black SUV just a mile from Andrew Beard's home, connected by a walking path, a careless choice for someone evading suspicion. Security footage captured someone parking the SUV and fleeing minutes after Alyssa's murder. The vehicle seller described the buyer as matching Andrew's description, driving a silver van and paying $2,000 in cash just days before the attack. Neighbors reported seeing the SUV in the neighborhood before Alyssa's death, solidifying its link to Andrew. The interior of the black SUV was covered in blood spatter, and among the items recovered were a fake beard stained with brown foundation and blood. DNA testing confirmed what police already suspected. The beard carried Andrew's DNA, and the blood was Alyssa's. This discovery sealed Andrew's fate, eliminating any doubt about his involvement. Investigators also confirmed the motive driving his actions: custody of Willow. Just days before Alyssa's death, a custody hearing on September 30th granted Alyssa primary custody of Willow, a decision Andrew refused to accept. In his twisted mind, the only way to secure what he wanted was to eliminate Alyssa entirely. With this evidence in hand, police moved to arrest Andrew, but he surprised them by turning himself in on October 5th. Accompanied by his fiancée, Holly Elkins, Andrew walked into the station and willingly submitted to questioning. During the interrogation, Holly attempted to provide Andrew with an alibi, claiming he had been home with her and Willow at the time of Alyssa's murder.
I'm trying to help, and no one's helping me. I just feel bad to not help something that I think is very sad that happened. I've literally cried myself to nauseam every single night over So I just told all my friends and family that I'm engaged to the most wonderful man on the planet. Yeah. And now people want me to believe that he's not that.
And there are so many emotional roadblocks for you to try to believe that. I get that.
I can't believe that my fiancé would do something like that to a woman or to anybody. But a woman.
I'm always up his ass, she insisted, trying to portray herself as a vigilant partner who would have known if Andrew had left the house. But her story fell apart under scrutiny. The mountain of evidence police had gathered didn't align with her claims, casting serious doubt on her credibility. Despite Andrew's surrender, police feared he might flee the country. Their concern wasn't unfounded. Andrew held a pilot's license and had access to an airplane. To prevent his escape, authorities set his bail at an astronomical $1 million. The shock came when someone paid the full amount, and just 2 weeks after his arrest, Andrew was released on bond. Fitted with an electronic ankle monitor, he was placed under home confinement, leaving Alyssa's family and the community stunned and outraged. To ensure he remained detained, police arrested him again on charges of cyberstalking resulting in death. Andrew initially pled not guilty, claiming he and Alyssa had amicably agreed she would be Willow's primary caretaker. For over a year, he denied involvement in Alyssa's murder. However, in July 2022, Andrew shocked everyone by accepting a plea deal and confessing to purchasing the black SUV, using dark makeup, and brutally killing Alyssa. Yet, he claimed his fiancée, Holly Elkins, had masterminded the crime.
How come you waited so long to talk about what Holly did?
It made very clear to me that your previous methods aren't working. This is what you're going to do now in order to prove that that you're worthy. Like, I was emotionally drained, and at that point, I just basically said, okay, I became submissive to whatever she wanted me to do. That's the task I did.
Behind the facade of civility, Holly Elkins harbored a deep resentment toward Alyssa Burkett. While she pretended to maintain a positive co-parenting relationship, her true feelings were revealed in private, saving Alyssa's contact under derogatory names and sending Andrew Beard cruel texts about Alyssa's appearance and parenting. Holly's manipulative tendencies extended beyond insults. She was determined to remove Alyssa from the picture entirely. Holly's obsession with control drove her to push Andrew into fighting for full custody of Willow, a battle he hadn't pursued until Holly entered his life. She convinced him to hire a private investigator to dig up dirt on Alyssa, but the plan backfired when the investigator found nothing incriminating. Undeterred, Holly escalated her schemes, planting substances and a gun in Alyssa's car and fabricating false reports to authorities, all in an attempt to discredit Alyssa and gain custody. When these tactics failed, Holly's manipulation reached its darkest point. She pressured Andrew to commit murder, telling him he needed to kill Alyssa to prove his worth as a man. Holly mocked Andrew's masculinity, pressuring him to prove his worth as a man. Her taunts worked and Andrew caved. According to him, Holly micromanaged every detail of Alyssa's murder, suggesting the black SUV, assembling the disguise, and planning the ambush. Even while vacationing in Mexico, she sent texts to ensure he followed through. After the murder, she demanded Andrew recount every gruesome detail, allegedly during intimate moments. Despite acting clueless during her October 2020 police interrogation, Holly's digital trail revealed her guilt. She Googled ways to avoid legal responsibility, exposing her desperation. In 2022, Andrew confessed, implicating Holly as the mastermind. By then, she had fled the state, abandoning Andrew and his mother, Lizette, who had supported her. In May 2023, Andrew was sentenced to 43 years in prison, but Holly's disappearance left her accountability pending. After fleeing Texas, Holly Elkins wasted no time reinventing herself. She moved to Michigan, secured a new condo, found a new boyfriend, and started a new job. It was as if she had hit the reset button on her life, leaving her past behind as quickly as possible, never even mentioning Andrew Beard, Alyssa Burkett, or Willow. But in June 2023, while enjoying a vacation in the Dominican Republic, her luck ran out. As she landed at Miami International Airport, police were waiting for her. Holly was arrested on the spot, her carefully constructed new life shattered in an instant. Holly's trial in April 2024 ended with her conviction on all charges. Overwhelming evidence led the jury to deliver a swift verdict, sentencing Holly to 2 life terms without parole, harsher than Andrew's 43-year sentence, likely due to her role as the mastermind. For Alyssa's family, the verdict brought some justice, but not peace.
Happy, overwhelming emotions, because finally, this has been a long time coming. She was a great daughter. I mean, she loved life. She was full of personality, great mom, and I miss her a lot. Been going to that gravesite since day one, telling her justice is going to be served sooner rather than later.
Alyssa's mother, Teresa, now raises Willow, a resilient and fun-loving girl who embodies Alyssa's spirit. The family works to keep Alyssa's memory alive, providing Willow with love and support as she grows up without either parent. The tragedy left Willow without both her parents, forcing her to grow up with the weight of knowing what truly happened. It's a heartbreaking case that underscores the importance of thinking about the long-term impact of one's actions, especially when children are involved. Thank you for tuning in today and taking the time to hear Alyssa's story. Her tragedy is a heartbreaking reminder that trust can be fragile, and if you have children and start dating someone new, it's vital to guard your heart and your child with everything you have, because you never truly know who someone might be beneath the surface. While Alyssa's family works tirelessly to raise Willow with love and resilience, the senselessness of this loss remains a stark and sobering lesson. Thank you again for listening and helping to keep Alyssa's memory alive. Until my next video, stay safe and look after your loved ones.